Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and today's video is very balanced, unlike some of those you're finding out there. The opener was an SBI Holdings Japan-backed NFT campaign. This is a public sale that will have the first collection on Monday, the 14th of October, available on Polygon. They'll cost 0.025 ETH each. And then there's a second collection that's going to be released sometime in November. It's going to be issued on the XRP ledger. SBI is the largest outside shareholder of Ripple, the company. And yep, they are just making huge moves in the blockchain space. If you think back, you might remember that they've announced a collaboration with XRP Cafe. That is, of course, one of the projects that we hear a lot about because Vet is so active in the XRP community, doing so many spaces. I don't know how he does it. But let's see if they can bring some life back into NFTs, which have really fallen off the cliff globally. Over the past 2 years, I've been checking the prices of the Trump cards. The original issue price on this was $99, and it's given me an indication as to where the market is heading and how it's holding up. This card, for example, was issued for $99. It sold for over $1,000 2 years ago, and then it sold again in 2024 for $600. And that's pretty good because most of the big brand NFTs have fallen off way more than that. You're looking at my favorite heat map, and we are off just slightly. Yes, the top 100 by market cap is having a dip of about 1 to 3% on average. And SUI is still screaming. Yeah, it had an all-time high just a few hours ago. I think it was 2 a.m. Japan time when it hit $2.13. Now, it took a bit of a breather, came down to $1.97, and now has bounced back up. It's on the rise again, just under 5% on the 24-hour at $2.03. And I've seen a 2x in less than 3 months. Now, I couldn't believe my ears when I heard a large established XRP YouTube channel threw shade on channels like mine that often focus on XRP, but for talking about other tokens was a no-no. Are you kidding me? This channel does, and will talk about tokens with great promise, whether it's because of the technology or the speculative opportunity, whether it's Root, BTC, Flare, XDC, and yes, SUI. Tony from Thinking Crypto is going to be interviewing the co-founder and CEO at Miston Labs. That's Evan Chang next week. That's all behind the SUI power. I can't wait. I'm especially interested in what they're doing in Dubai. They've got some up-and-coming initiatives for the MENA region, and I am just so bullish on this project. And yes, I will continue to talk about SUI. And moving right along, speaking of Flare and XRP, Vet wrote an article on X titled it XRP Ledger Oracle, the Gateway to the Off-Chain World. There's an amendment that is up for a vote on the ledger. 60% yes votes are in, and this is all about the oracles, which bring accurate price data on chain. The amendment, the XLS 47, will bring that price feed for DeFi, NFTs, and AMM. And I made a comment that what are the reasons we shouldn't use Flare Networks Oracle? It's the most decentralized, solid technology available. Some integration work has, yes, already been successfully deployed. Mayuka came in and said, is there a way to get Flare oracles on chain on the XRPL directly? If not, the price oracle amendment would allow you to oracle data from Flare as well. And then I replied, no doubt Hugo Filion can opine and correct me if I'm off, but Flare oracles could feed data directly to the XRPL smart contracts if and when native smart contracts are fully implemented on the XRPL. Should there be other methods, and because you're a top-notch Ripple dev, I'm talking about Mayuka, I imagine Hugo would put you in contact with the right person on his team. Well, I was very lucky. So was Mayuka. We got a response from Hugo. His reply, the amendment wouldn't allow for Flare's oracles to be used on XRPL trustlessly, but this could be a great use case for staking FXRP, that would be an F asset, and or Flare on Flare to secure the price relay. Would be delighted to work through it with you. And Mayuko then responded, I'm not working on the feature myself, but I'd be happy to connect you to the relevant folks if you're interested. I hope this jumpstarts some communication between the two chains. At the end of this video, you're going to watch a live demo that Flare did with integrating on the XRP ledger for the first time. They sold an NFT on Flare, but paid using XRP from the XRP ledger. It was a first, and it was amazing. Gave me goosebumps. And here's a no-nonsense post from the real Degen XRP holder. No more games, Schwartz. He's talking to David. Tell me, will RLUSD, that's the Ripple stablecoin, be a net positive to the XRP, even though it can do 70% or more of what XRP was made to do? You know, cross-border payments. I hear what you and Brad are saying, but truthfully, I feel forked. Afterthoughts, not always getting great in programming. David's reply was excellent. Only XRP can be used to pay transaction fees on XRPL. Everyone who transacts must have XRP to pay for those fees. XRP is the only asset that every account can hold and that has no counterparty or jurisdiction and cannot be frozen or clawed back. XRP has structural advantages on the XRP ledger due to features like auto bridging. But if a stablecoin can do most of what XRP does better than XRP can, then XRP will lose to one or more stablecoins no matter what happens with RLUSD. So there you have it. You actually have right there the core difference and value add of the digital asset XRP and how it differs from the RLUSD stablecoin by the company Ripple. Jumping to some things that are just happening in the space, attorney Fred Rispoli is going to be streamed live from the court trying to get back those Songbird tokens from Coinbase for the holders. You can find the link to the live stream if you click on the San Francisco Courtroom 1 at about 9 a.m. from his X feed. Some surprising news coming from Link2. After they canceled their reverse merger to go public and paid a $5 million fee, they're refocusing. It's going to be a big business shift for them. It will go to the broker-dealer for private market access, calling it a strategic move. The weak gross profit margins of Blockchain Coinvestors Acquisition Corp., that's the SPAC, which Link2 had previously agreed to do a merger with, those margins might have influenced Link2's decision to terminate the merger and pursue a more transparent and possibly traditional IPO route. And of course, I wonder, are they still going to be selling hard into the XRPL community? Metaplanet, which is the MicroStrategies of Japan, believes there's more runway to the Bitcoin price because they've purchased more Bitcoin, 108 Bitcoin, bringing their total holdings to 639. Yes, very, very different than the total holdings that Michael Saylor has, but nonetheless, they are still buying. Eleanor Terrett tells us that she's got a few stories in the pipeline. One that I really want to read is her interview with the Tether CEO. I think it's going to be different than you think. I know I'm a contrarian thinker in this whole UST Tether business. I think you're going to find that it is not as bad as you may think. If you're still a skeptic and are one of those people who think Tether is a scam, I want to point you to watch this video with the CoinDesk owner that was uploaded 6 days ago. If this doesn't slightly change your mind, well, I guess I just have to shake my head and say, time will tell. Let's look at that video of when Hugo and the team came to Tokyo and they did that live demo between the XRPL and the Flare blockchain. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.
I'm Hugo, co-founder of Flare. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you to GMO for providing this space.
For our example, we will use XRP. We select XRP, and the Flare FTSO system automatically gets us the correct price in XRP. Next, clicking on the button Reserve NFT sends a reservation transaction on Flare, and we reserve an NFT. So this is performed on Flare and signed with Bifrost. We sign the transaction, we see we're minting it on XRP ledger, and this is just a normal EVM transaction. Once the transaction is signed, our NFT is reserved. So once the transaction is confirmed, the user immediately receives the information about the transaction on an external chain that needs to be paid. So we can see we should pay to this address with this specific reference and with this amount. And the amount again is calculating using the FTSO system without trusting any centralized entity. Now we're going to leave the Flare ecosystem and make the payment for our NFT, but we're going to do this on an XRP ledger. So we again sign the transaction using Bifrost wallet, but this time we're not doing the transaction on Flare, but we're paying with almost 200 XRPs on the XRP ledger. Once the transaction is confirmed, we immediately get the transaction ID of the transaction that effectively paid for the NFT. Okay, so we've paid for our NFT on an XPR ledger. The only thing we need to do now is to bridge this information from XRP ledger to Flare and know that we've paid this and prove it on Flare. To achieve this, we select an attestation provider of our choice and create a request to gather full information about the transaction we just created on XRP ledger. The API will then return the full information connected to this request. So once we get this information, the only thing that's left, we need to input this information into the state connector for the state connector to prove the final transaction really happened. And this is again done on Flare network signed by Bifrost wallet. We now wait for the state connector to confirm this. The state connector rounds are finalized, and now we obtain the proof that our transaction was confirmed in the state connector from our local attestation provider. This proof contains all necessary information for the NFT contract that we can prove that the transaction was correct and really included. We have block number, we have additional information about senders and receivers address, and also the received amount and a payment reference we created in the beginning. So once this is done, the only thing that's left is to mint our NFT by providing the NFT contract with the full proof that is going to get forwarded to the state connector. We sign this final transaction on the Flare network, and you can see that the wallet nicely decodes all the information. Once this transaction is signed, the contract is going to check a few things. Firstly, that the transaction was correct. So the amount was correct, the receiver's address was correct, the memo field was correct. And secondly, it will also check that this specific transaction, together with the proof, was included in the state connector and therefore attested to the Flare network that it really happened. So the transaction is signed and an NFT is minted on Flare. And think again, we reserved an NFT on Flare, paid for it on the XRP ledger, and finally proved that the payment on XRP ledger was made, and thus minting the NFT.